Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. We are in the midst of an election. Cash flow is doing well. We're still building a bunch of government admin. But we're almost done building government admin. And I know it's taken a long time, but we're doing it. Home Affairs is up to level 3. That's very good. Again, this is going to provide a lot of bonuses in terms of our ability to control the country and control movements. Market's doing okay. Grain is still expensive. Are our farms unprofitable or something? Even using this new and delicious fertilizer? Using nitrogen fixation? It doesn't seem like they are. It seems like they're quite profitable. So, I'm not exactly sure why they're having such a hard time with that. I'm not going to automate them. I'm so full of labor. I'm wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling labor. Ooh. Event. Fruitful endorsements. In a gesture of solidarity with the Constitutional Association, Hyungyo Jeep has encouraged his supporters to vote for it in the ongoing election. For the interest of all principled people, the Constitutional Association has a consistent record of excellence. I cannot speak higher of those brave men and women moving Great Qing forwards under their name. He has our thanks, certainly, 30% momentum, or his endorsement best be more specific, 20% momentum and stronger petite bourgeoisie. I'm going to do the second one, because momentum seems permanent, but improving the strength of the petite bourgeoisie was temporary. Now, as I said before, I was going to go after more countries in Southeast Asia, and I think I'm going to do that. Mysore, I think, is a good target. They have some alliances around here, but those are also countries I want to take control of, so we'll make them a protectorate. It doesn't look like anyone who's actually interested in stopping me would step in, so we'll do it. That's going to cost us a little bit of infamy. We do have a front right here. We'll go ahead and send... Do I need to send the 5th Field Army? I don't think so. I think I'm just going to go ahead and send the 2nd Field Army. Well, the 2nd Field Army needs another leader. Let's go with this Armed Forces guy. He seems quite good. And he's a moderate, which is nice. And all the other fellas are scholar officials or petite bourgeoisie. This guy seems alright. He's an ethno-nationalist, which isn't ideal, but we won't give him too many promotions. And then we'll send the 3rd Coastal Force as well. And this should be an overwhelming abundance of necessary forces. If other countries get involved, I'll get war goals against them as well, because no one seems interested in stepping in here on the enemy side. Once you're recognized, you can kind of do whatever you like. Yeah, a lot of these countries, even the ones with alliances, don't seem interested in stepping in, which is just fine with me. I'm perfectly happy to win a war with only one country. Now that Mysore has gotten back the territory stolen by the Brits. Is Carnatic still a British subject? They are. And Sri Lanka is as well. Alright, so Britain's been slowly making inroads back into India after they lost the whole thing in a really embarrassing way by being shot at by China too much. And then, yeah, I think we'll go after some of these other countries as time goes by, as the episode continues. Mysore Jeypore is also on the list. And I want to get Andhra back. I want to give Andhra to Orissa, and that's going to piss off Jeypore, but it is what it is. Madhya Pradesh is a United State, yes. Campaign financing. Parties, particularly the Constitutional Association, are struggling to raise enough funds for all their campaigning needs this election. Let's see what you men are charging. Fees, yes, that's to be expected, but what's this lodging charge? That fancy hotel room could house half a village. And there's enough wine billed here to drown a fish. Votes don't come cheap, sir. You do want to win, right? Some money can be spared for the Constitutional Association. Spend a bunch of cash, give them momentum. Every party can be provided with basic election funding this cycle. Spend twice as much cash, extra opposition interest group approval. Or if a party can't afford a campaign, should it be campaigning? Minus 10% momentum for the Constitutional Association. That's the petite bourgeoisie. I'm going with the 3rd one. And we're slowly improving relations with Australia. I'm willing to improve relations with these other countries as well. Once I've gotten them properly conquered. I wonder if I should subjugate Australia. What would it be? What would it be? 39.7 infamy. That's not that much. I could bring them in. That'd be nice. What about a Seh? 13.4. So they're also an interesting target. Are a Seh recognized? They're... I don't think so. I think they might be recognized, but they're not significant. Alright, 72. That's a very solid force comparison. I'm not super worried about that. Government admin continuing to increase in size. We've got about a third of the remaining government admin that we were thinking about building done. So let's think about what we want to build after that. I think it's more motor industries. We're going to build more motor industries. We're going to build motor industries, and we're going to build them in Beijing. 30 levels. That should help out our motor needs. And there's the election. And the Qing French League has disbanded. What an interesting state of affairs. So, Constitutional Association can be out of the government. That's just the scholar officials and the petite bourgeoisie, and the agrarian party reigns supreme. Anyone I can bring in. Anyone I could bring in who could help me do a republic. There is, but he's a trade unionist. So, ultimately not useful to me at the current moment. Alright. Let's continue with this war. The other thing I want to build here is a lot more steel mills. Well, the private sector is building steel mills. I don't want to queue in too many steel mills. Ew! Aircraft carrier. Very nice. I don't want to queue in too many steel mills right now while I'm still building up. Because I don't want the private sector to not build them. And I'm going to be working on these government admins for like another, like, half a year at least. It's going to be a while. Battles are going very well. I'm up to squad infantry now, so offense is a lot higher. I'm losing here, but that's, I guess, to be expected. They're still on trench infantry. Oh no, this is Bengal army. Oh yeah, that's us. Alright, something's going on in Greece that I may needs pay attention to. Situation in Selangor, a communist revolt. Not my business. Jebel Shamar, not my business. Chagort, that's an internal French affair at this point. Bhopal is having a communist revolt. Would they accept subjugation? They accept subjugation. No? Then it doesn't matter. Hamburg, microstates in Europe shooting at each other, as always. Reactionary revolt in Saxony, and the South German Federation is involved. Keep an eye on that one. And then we've got a Turkish uprising in Greece. That is interesting. Greece has a lot of allies over here. It seems like. Yeah. Yeah, they got a lot of allies in this play. They got Italy and Romania on their side. So that should be fine. That should be just fine. Let's continue with our little war here. We got a lot of clothing industries and steel mills being built up here. And someone finally built some gold mines. Excellent. That's very good. Obviously, we've got... cash flow's down a little bit. I guess that's the investment pool putting less in. Yeah, as you can see here, the investment pool is only covering about half the construction capacity. So that's why we're currently spending so much. But, you know, spending on the economy is good. Exile from Paraguay, very good. We are continuing to hurtle forward in GDP now that I've built a gigantic construction sector. This isn't as big a construction sector as I have had in certain runs, but it's quite large. Sinking enemy convoys, mostly because I left this fleet here without thinking about it. Fleets are doing fine now, finally. They've been properly upgraded. Third Qing fleet has been properly upgraded. Guangdong fleet still has monitors. Let's go ahead and build some scout cruisers. We'll do as we've been doing. This is 20, right? Yeah. And I'll just throw those in at the top. No reason to mess about. Looks like we've got Mysore almost fully, or Mahashatra almost fully occupied. 78% occupied. And then we've got Rayalaseema almost fully occupied, or the state of... yeah, Rayalaseema. And then... hey, there's Battleship. Wonderful. So we'll queue in our other naval reform now, just to knock that out. So we're going to need 40 units of battleships, 5, 10, or 10, 20, 30, 40. And we're a little bit short. That should be the right... it's 43. That's fine. Beautiful. Now Mysore is a protectorate. Dangerous equipment. The furniture manufacturers in Guizhou have seen an increase in workplace injuries due to increased mechanization and poor safety regulations. Accidents have always happened, but I felt like I used to have time to react. Not this time. I grabbed his arm to pull it out of the way, but I barely gotten a hold of his wrist before the arm was all I'd held on to. Alright. Slow down production while the staff adjusts to the new machinery. Reduce manufacturing throughput. Industrialists mad. We cannot put the brakes on the engines of progress. Trade unions, Confucian scholars, and scholar officials all mad. We'll do the first one. I can afford to piss off the industrialists a little bit. It's also going to be mortality. Throw those naval bases in the top of the queue, as always. And then once those are done, we'll finish out the other set. Cash flow should be a little bit better now that we don't have troops mobilized. Doesn't look like it, but we've got a very large gold reserve and a very large reserve maximum. Can I see our debt maximum? Our debt maximum's got to be absolutely enormous. Our formations think they can't get back to their respective HQs, but I think they can. Alright, Guangdong Fleet. Close out those monitors. And that should flow employment into the scout cruisers. It's not doing it yet, but it will. I know what I'm doing. I'm not a fool. Alright, and as we build these battleship barracks, these battleship naval bases, we'll just close out the ironclads that came before, and that should lead to employment flowing in. Just close those out completely. Alright, and then we'll do the same with the third Qing fleet. We'll do a nice even 40 for ironclad for this fleet as well. Of course, now all our numbers are goofy. Oh, there's a higher maximum here. Completely lost track. That's 40. Oh, I'm so good at things. I'm tooting my own horn a lot, but it's because I'm very silly. Alright. Excellent. Let's see what the private sector is working on. Private sector is working on a lot of textile mills. It looks like textiles are quite profitable in our current spread. We got some oil. I'm going to encourage this trend because oil is the future. This was Shandong. What kind of oil is it? It's 3 wells. Alright, well, that's not that big of a deal. TBHVAC. Ooh, Balinese anarchist revolt in Bali. Oh, speaking of revolts and such like as that, it's time for us to do another conquest here. I think we'll go for Jeypore next. Jeypore only has a defensive pact with Mysore, and it's not going to be an issue. They didn't fight for Mysore either, so, you know, doesn't seem like it'll be an issue. This is going to be 7.8 infamy, which I can easily tolerate. No one that I've got an issue with is going to step in. So just go ahead and do that. I'll send the first field army. And the first coastal force. Again, not necessarily... I just want to have 2 armies so that I don't run into any weird headaches in terms of the fronts. Bohai Gulf Fleet, we're down to scout cruisers and battleships. 3rd Qing Fleet, we are still building up. I'm going to start scrapping ironclads pretty soon. Because these are almost done. Guangdong Fleet is having a hard time recruiting. Maybe I'll just throw a few more scout cruisers in there. Maybe I'll just, you know, round up some locations. And we've got another event. The North Jilin Pipeline. I love the pipeline event. Oil companies operating in North Jilin have requested government assistance in funding a pipeline, promising that its construction will be accompanied by other infrastructural improvements. Putting a liquid inside a solid, putting that solid inside another solid, and propelling the whole mess across a railway. Trust me, in the future they will laugh at how we once did this. Now, let me show you how simple it can be. It'll just be like turning on a tap. We'll contribute funding to the project. This costs us £800 a week forever, and adds 10 infrastructure forever, and makes the industrialists happy. Or this isn't in the budget, industrialists mad. You know I'm going to do the first one. £800 a week is nothing for an economy of my size. This force comparison isn't as big as it could be. I'll go ahead and send 1 more army to assist, just to make sure that it's all hunky-dory and handled in good time. And nothing silly transpires. Alright, 3rd Qing Fleet is good to go. And I've closed out all the ironclads there. Guangdong Fleet should be good. We're a little bit short on infrastructure in a lot of different areas, which I think means it's time to build some railways. Let's just go state by state. Yeah, here we go. 2 railways here. 4 railways here. Eight railways here. 2 railways here. 5 railways here. I see the issue. There's starvation in some of these areas because I haven't actually built up the necessary infrastructure for goods to flow to them productively. Battleship warfare. Giants of the seas. Guan Lilu's use of battleships during the ongoing war has demonstrated that these massive constructions may still serve a purpose in modern naval warfare. The young girl looked wide-eyed at the ship floating in the harbor. It looks like it took all the world's steel to build. How many such boats are there? Of this immensity, only 1, the admiral replied, but you can be sure that as soon as our enemies find out about it, there will be 2 miss. Their presence will be a compelling argument, extra influence. By their might, we will rule the seas, extra prestige from navy power projection, or we'll put this tactical experience to good use, extra progress on modern battlefleet tactics. I'm actually going to go for the influence. I kind of need it, and I kind of need it bad. I'm going to throw this naval base at the top, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to throw these motor industries at the bottom of the queue, because I need to get these railways built. The power block statues will be what they are. They'll get built, but I need to get railways under construction. Another border violation in eastern Guangdong. You know I'm going to do the same thing I've been doing, and slicey. Sorry, I'm really getting tired of those missionary events. Wow, I've got a lot of infrastructure to build. Alright. The Western Guangdong Military School. Protestant missionaries have opened several charity schools in Western Guangdong, offering education in Western religious and scientific practices. I'm going to forbid our citizens from attending once again. I know I'm starting to sound like a broken record here, but them's the breaks. I'm doing what I gotta do. We'll put the motor industries at the bottom. Maybe we'll move the partially completed ones up to the top once the power block statues are finished. But the power block statues, realistically, are going to take a long time. And that is Jeypore made into a protectorate. Now that I've got a little bit more influence, I can improve relations with them. So we got Jeypore, we got Mysore. Let's go with Sind. They've got a defensive pact with Greece. Shouldn't be a problem, but let's check before we jump in here. 3.4 infamy. Doesn't look like any of our problematic people are going to step in again. I'd be fine to fight Greece or Egypt, although we're getting on towards the end of the episode. So maybe we'll go after a slightly softer target. Kotah is a good one. They got a defensive pact with Jeypore, but that doesn't seem like it's going to be an issue. And nobody's going to step in, so we'll go after them. That's 3.4 infamy. It's not going to get us over the limit, I don't think, but it could get us close. We've got a tiny front here. I'm going to do the same as I have ever done and mobilize these armies to deal with it. Now, cash flow is a little negative. Again, that's mostly construction related. We still have about 133k of unrealized taxes. Let's check out where. Fujian, Nanjing, Henan, Southern Anhui, Hunan, and Shanxi. So Fujian, that's down here. I built 5 government admin for that. Nanjing, that's here. We'll do 6 there. Henan, that's here. We need 2 government admins. Shanxi, we need... looks like just 2. And Southern Anhui... I think we already did Southern Anhui. Did I do Henan? Yes. I think I've done all of them. If not, I'll find out in a minute. Because those will get done really fast. And then I'll take a quick pass through and see where I've got too much government admin. Because I'm sure there are places that I... in fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm sure there are places that I ran way over. Like Shuzhou I ran way over. And Jiangxi I ran way over. Just sort this. So Shuzhou, I can easily lose 6 without causing a problem. Jiangxi, I can lose 5. Yeah, here we go. I can actually track it in real time. There we go, perfect. I went a little close to the line there, but that's alright. Guangxi. That should be fine. Shandong, I'm a little over. That's fine. Western Hubei. Probably get even lower of Western Hubei. That's probably fine. Sichuan. Because again, excess government doesn't do anything for you. Like, it gives you a buffer. It allows you to kind of slow down a bit. Hey, they backed down. Wonderful. I know maybe I'm not really giving foreign affairs the, what they deserve, but I'm doing my best. Alright, I don't think I need to be improving relations with Australia as much right now. Defamatory article. A newspaper called the Southern Anhui Observer has printed a bigoted article about the Sephardim people living there. We can suppress the article or we can let it be released. He threw the tabloid across the table with a huff. Absolutely vile lies, the lot of it. Alas, that won't matter to those who read it. They'll gobble it right up. He eyed the shocked maid's face and righted himself. Of course they'd believe it. He hadn't given them proof to the contrary. Suppress it costs us authority, or ignore it, -1 standard of living. I've got a huge pile of authority. It's fine. We'll suppress it. Get out of here. Ooh. A foreign manifesto. The recently translated works of Hans Leso, a Danish positivist, have become popular within the modernization movement. The relationship has developed to the point of Hans Leso openly endorsing the movement. And for a whole large class, there is no other road, especially for a nation so eminently practical as the Qing. The great thing is to get the working class to move as a class, that once obtained, they will soon find the right direction, and all who resist will be left out in the cold with small sects of their own. Our struggle is an international one, stronger movement, or this foreign interference ought to be punished. Weaker but more radical movement, salty and weaker industrialists. I'm going to go with the first one. That simply is what it is. Now, let me go back to the thing I was doing, because I've, made mistakes about this before. That's a very sufficient buffer. Again, I don't necessarily want to get down to exactly even on government admin. I just want to get myself enough of a buffer that I'm not constantly trying to build new government admin to outrun my taxation capacity shortages. Because taxation capacity shortages are the thing that causes the most trouble in politics in China. At least for the early part of the game. Alright, having a couple hundred extra is probably fine with me. Some of these places I've, again, outrun my, my capacity, and that's alright. I think this railway in Nanjing was a mistake. So knock those out. Falling in line, the petite bourgeoisie, prominent supporters of the Constitutional Association, have proposed support for the Anti-Prussian Association to be a component of their official party platform. I've considered the risks and I'm willing to push it forwards. The fact of the matter is that voters do not and have never cared for anything outside our own borders. Even if the climate shifts heavily against Prussia in the coming months, we may still run on internal politics. On our internal policy without compromising our more wide-ranging principles. I see the rationale. Nevertheless, I would like to know more before committing to a side. The stance our nation takes must not be informed by the whims of ideologues, but rather by hard necessity. The party stands together on this, the scholar officials join it, or, and be accused of foreign puppeteering, weaker petite bourgeoisie. I'm going to go with the second one. I don't care what the scholar officials have to say. They're out of here. Still at about 10k unrealized taxes. Okay, hold on. Oh, you know what? This is because your man has expensive tastes. That's what's going on. What about his son? His son is a Luddite. but he is aligned with the rural folk. He's inexperienced and tactful. Reduced legitimacy, but slightly increased popularity. You could abdicate in favor of him. He's young, but he'll learn. And the Emperor doesn't have that much influence on foreign policy. So, maybe we'll abdicate him. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Got a new mandate available. I think we're maxed out on mandates. Yeah, again, I don't want extra income transfer. I think that's just silliness. There's home affairs increasing. Wonderful. And there's pneumatic tools, which is going to significantly increase the size of our construction sector. Or the efficiency of our construction sector, really. So, that's quite a bit. I could go to mobile warfare. Let's look at what there is left in society. There's not that much. Could do the corporate stuff. Could do elevators and paved roads. Actually, though, well, plastics is almost done. Wonderful. I did it. So good at stuff. I don't need to do that, but I am going to go to compression. No. I got a bunch of stuff left over in Tier 4 that I need to finish. I'm going to finish out Tier 4, and then I'm going to go to compression ignition, because compression ignition makes the mines much better. And having better mines is very good. At this point, I think the gold reserve is actually growing fast enough that even though I'm losing money, oh no, that can't be right. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we're very close to being finished with a bunch of these power block statues, and we're very slowly increasing the size of the railways. The Elbe block. Prussia. What happened to the Zollverein? Prussia, you fool. Are they like a democratic republic or something? A landed voting monarchy. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. There's psychoanalysis. That gives us a little bit of extra influence to play with. Hey, Kotah, why don't we be better friends? Now that I know about psychoanalysis, I would be more than happy to be better friends with you. All of my new protectorates are going down in Liberty Desire, except for Jeypore, but we are improving relations with them. So they'll be heading down in Liberty Desire soon, and I am feeling pretty comfortable with that in terms of us being able to get all the things we want to get done. And there is plastics. We've got probably very sufficient oil in the market, and obviously ceramics are dirt cheap. So let's go ahead and we're still really good on oil, right? Let me just make sure about that. Where's the oil? Here it is. Yeah, we're fine. So if we go to plastics, I'm going to close out the episode in a minute. But if we go to our glassworks, and go to houseware plastics, that's going to add 20 oil per level. 275, that's about 5,000 oil. It's quite a bit. I think it's worth it. Wow, it doesn't think it's worth it at all. Golly. Alright, we'll go back to crystal glass for now. We'll figure that out next episode. Big civil war in Afghanistan. We'll worry about that later. Let me just finish this event, and then we'll close out. A massive outbreak of an especially deadly strain of flu has broken out in Bohemia. It threatens to spread rapidly. Potentially... Sir, please. I'm trying to talk here, sir. It threatens to spread rapidly, potentially escalating into a global pandemic. The epidemic of influenza, like the specter of death, was upon us almost overnight, and 3 days after the disease was made reportable by the Board of Health, our hospital was full to overflowing with victims of the pestilence. Nope, it doesn't reach Great Qing. The virus may spread to Great Qing via neighboring states or common markets. We're doing a lot of trade, so we're going to need to deal with that. With that being said, that is all the time we've got for this episode, my nerds. We are rapidly hurtling towards the end of the run, but we are establishing a greater and greater presence in India, and as things go, I may finally succeed at getting, well, I'll have a lot, I'll have a lot to do. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get more than half the world's population, but might be able to snag more than half the world's GDP. We'll see. For now, I've had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you on the other side.